Good evening, everyone. Hello, how are you doing tonight? If you're here in the stream and you are seeing me and you are hearing me, please let me know in the chat so I can make sure that everything is functioning the way it is supposed to. All right, let me just get situated here. Here we go. And all right, so if you can see me, hear me, everything looks good, let me know in the chat so that I don't have to worry about making any adjustments. Or if I have to make adjustments, let me know. Let's see. I hear you and see you. That is good. All right, perfect. Nice. We are definitely on the go then. So I'm also going to quickly test something here with this. Let's see. Does this do anything? Did anything show up on the screen by chance? No, because I don't have... it should have. That would show up. But then it didn't. Okay, that should be automated. I'm not sure why it wasn't automated. That's okay. At least I know I need to toggle that. Perfect. All right, we are going to be getting some work done on... nope. What does... I'm not quite sure what nope means. Maybe that's in reference to the thing going on the screen that didn't go up on the screen. I'm going to assume that's what that meant. So, all right, we are going to get started here, and you might be able to see right here behind me, one of the Enterprise... Yep, okay, got it. One of the Enterprise E's is up on the post. Let me bring that over quickly. One of the Enterprise E's is up on the post, and I had to extend the wires. And they are coming down the post, coming out the copper T here. And all just nicely flowing out here. So this is ready to test with the Arduino. I would like to get the second one ready to test with the Arduino as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, now that I've gone through that process once already, with that one. The other one will go a little bit quicker. I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I am not going to consolidate down any of the wires. Let me throw this over to bench cam. Here we go. And I'll just pop myself in the corner there. So I have not consolidated any of the wiring down here yet. That's going to happen post the post. So once we get the post on down below the post, we will then work on consolidating, because it was a pain to get the post on with all of the extra bulk from consolidating down those wires, from the extra wires being bundled together, the shrink tube, all that kind of stuff. So we are going to put everything down the post and then consolidate stuff down. But before I can do that, I do need to lengthen some of those wires. Perfect. I am going to do one more test here on the auto chat. Okay, auto chat is not working, but I can post it up there. So at least I can do that manually. Good to know. And thank you, Brian, for being my guinea pig on that. So let's get started. I've got lots of water in my sponge. Turn my my solder station on. And there are a few of these wires that are just a little bit shorter than all the others that need to be lengthened before I can put the post on. There's some on the positive side. I believe all of the data wires are more than long enough to get the post on here. So once we get the post on and the bottom copper T and it's up on a stand, then we'll be able to get the jumper wires installed as well. And those are necessary for being able to test the... Brian says, you're welcome. Perfect. The jumper wire is going to be necessary for being able to test it with the Arduino and eventually to plug it in permanently with the Arduino. So let's get right add it here. I'm going to move my chat. Ken's Hobby Bench is here. Good evening. Let's see. Again, I just have to pop this on and it says, nope, that's a different one. If I do this, it switches. That's good to know. Sorry, I'm testing out an update to my streaming software here, so you can bear with me on that a little bit. All right, let's get to dealing with Enterprise E number 2 tonight. All right, so I'm going to start. I already started lengthening a couple of these earlier today just to kind of get my stuff sorted here so I knew what I was doing. So this has been added on, and I'm not going to be needing to do too many of these before getting the post on. This is going to make getting the post on so much nicer. So we've got Brian, we've got Ken, we've got William in the chat. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me, hanging out tonight as I get a bit of work done on the second of 2 Enterprise E projects. Here we go. I will need to be relabeling everything as well as I go. So please, if you see that I forget to put a label back on after I have lengthened, please do let me know, because I don't want to have to go through that horrible process of dealing with testing to find out which wires are which. Again. RAF Warped Drive, good evening, model makers. Well, good evening to you as well. Welcome to the stream. All right. Let's get going. So this is going to be a bit of a repetitive process here. I'm going to take the tag, chop whatever's on the end, because I was installing little tiny pins on the end for testing purposes. And we'll get this going. Let's chop those off, and I will get some wiring. I have a few here that I've already done up, so I'm going to use those as a baseline for how long I want to the wiring I'm adding to be. So let's grab the black wire and let's just kind of compare here and get a appropriate length. Probably going to be wasting a bunch of it afterwards anyway, but that's okay. Get the ends off. All right, I should get my helping hands over here. I've got some cardstock just to be able to cover the model in case I have to solder right over top of the plastic, so if anything drips, it doesn't damage the solder. Here we go. I'll move these Arduinos out of the way. And let's get going. Grab the wire. Twist it together. Meanwhile, my solder station is up to temperature. Here we go. Get rid of some of the excess. Now to find my solder. Here it is. Last night they suggested I put some bright tape on it so I can find it. Unfortunately, the only color I have is green, which is also all around me here. So I need to get some hockey tape or something of a bright color to put on it. All right. As I solder, you may see the top of my head. Don't worry, there shouldn't be any bald spots. Go. let that cool down before I touch it. Just going to quickly make sure I haven't missed any chat. I'm running a bit of a new setup because my streaming software gave me a nice update, and trying a couple things out here. Let's see. Ken says you've got yellow tape in front of you now. The yellow tape, yeah. But again, I need like bright fuchsia pink or something like that. That was not the right thing. There's a few steps here. There we go. There's Ken saying you have yellow tape in front of you now. Yeah, I need like fuchsia pink or something like that, I think, in order for it to really stand out and for me to be able to see it. So, here we go. Let's get that on there. And here's the for everybody who's joining after I started, here's the sum total of the work that I've been doing over the last little while to get the wiring consolidated down the post. It finally got on the post. Had to extend the wires because with the length of the post, getting it over the jumper pins at the end, I didn't have enough space. So last night I was finishing getting them extended, and I got the post on. Hopefully soon we'll be there with the other one too. With this one. Alright. I should really get a cordless. But it is what it is right now. Let that heat up and shrink the tube. Go. Buck is here. Good evening, Buck. Welcome to the stream. Basically doing more of the same. Extending the wires on the second of the two Enterprise E's. The first one is just behind me on the bench there. Get my little squirty bottle here in case I need water on the sponge. Here we go. Everybody's giving their greetings. That's awesome. Okay, let's find the next short one. Actually, I'm going to release the tape a little bit. Free the wires. I can't tell. Oh, there it is. Can I do this by feel? No, I'm going to need a knife. Cut the wires. Cut the red wire. I'll keep this over here. Did a short video at work probably a year ago now. Yeah, because it would have been over the summer. Oh, nobody reminded me. Nobody reminded me, and I just reminded myself because nobody reminded me. Here's the wire. Here's the label. Label's going back on. Yes, so label has to go back on right away. Or I'm going to be in a mess. That's going to be the challenge tonight. Make sure that everything remains labeled during this. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. Okay, so these ones are nice. Oh, that one's not quite as nice and long, but it's probably long enough for now. So long enough for now is all I need. enough for now. Okay, I'm just looking for really short ones. Am I going to say this is long enough for now? Probably not. So I'm going to add some here. Let's see, how much do I want to add to that? I'm just going to reuse some of the other wire. Here we go. Great, what one was that again? Probably this one. So we're going to go with flash number. No, that one's long enough for now. It's a problem with this wiring, it just disappears. Okay, here we go. This is probably it. Let's see. Yeah, it'll be this one. So let's chop the little pin off. Label. Let's put these together. Hopefully, this process is going to go fairly quickly here. Except that broke. So let's do that again. Happens from time to time. Yeah, don't forget to label this one. It's if you see me forgetting, remind me. Because I got into some trouble earlier on in this process not relabeling on the other one, so I don't want to run into that trouble again. Head cam! That is too much solder. Go. Took it off. Let that cool down. Almost burnt my fingers last night doing this, touching it before it was cool. I mean, you pretty much have to touch it right away after the solder's been on it in order for it to be a problem, but I think I did that last night. All right. Get the hot air on that. All right, and before I forget, relabel. And when it's nice, it just lets me put the old label back on. Okay. Give me 1 second here. There we go. I didn't realize that that was not turned on. I had a thought. I'm going to try throwing Ken's last chat up, and it throws it up automatically. That's how it's supposed to go. Yay! Although I don't like the look of this, I'm going to have to play around with my overlays to see if there's one that I like better. And then I manually turn it off there. All right. At least I know that's working. You know, sometimes your brain just keeps going, and you have a random thought to solve a problem. That's kind of just what happened there. All right. Just looking to see if any of the wire I cut off from the other is long enough to do the work I need it to do on here. That way I'm not wasting anything. And that'll be long enough. All right, what's this one? This one is Flash Circuit 2. Because there are two separate flashing circuits on the Enterprise E. The white strobes that are beside the red or the green, top, bottom of the saucer on the sides, are different speed of flasher than pretty much every other flasher on the ship. So there's two circuits of two different speeds on this particular model. So we've got that taken into consideration in the lighting. And Buck says, what program are you using? I am using vMix. I am using vMix mostly because I already have it available to me. And it works quite well for streaming. The only issue is that it is a expensive program to buy. So if I didn't have access to it, I would probably be using something else. But vMix works very well for live stream applications. And one of these things where, well, it used to be one of these things where you would buy the program, you'd have access to updates for 12 months, and then you'd have to subscribe to get the updates, but they've recently changed that, and so I just got access to the most recent version without having to pay for an update, which I think is just the way software should be. You pay the money like that, you should get access to all the all of the updates. So Ken says, Z-Mix, Z-Mix, it is V, like a V. V-Mix. V as in Victor. Mix, M-I-X. And they've got several different levels to the program. So if you don't need all the bells and whistles, you don't have to pay all the money for all the bells and whistles. But they've got everything. They've got Zoom integration. The updated version now lets me do the chat to it, and it's nice because I'm just activating the chat remotely on my iPad, which you can probably see right there. It's nice because I can easily see the chat. It's coming in. And when I get my Twitch account working, because I've never streamed on Twitch, I've only ever used it to watch, I can stream simultaneously both on YouTube and on Twitch, and all of the chat will come into one spot. And it'll tell me whether the chat's coming in from Twitch or whether it's coming in from YouTube. I guess technically I could also stream on a third platform at the same time, but I think those are kind of two major ones that would be worth doing. Ken says, time to get my ears cleaned. Well, I don't know about that. Let's see. And RAF Warp Drive says, not bad. Not bad that you can purchase a lifetime license, unlike most softwares, which is moving to subscription-based. Yeah, it's nice. And now that they're allowing the update, that's even better. And then Buck says, sounds a bit like StreamYards, except SYards is Web-based. Yeah, this is actually a physical program. Physical, well, not physical because it's digital, but it's actually a program, an application on the computer. It's nice because I can do, like, at work, we take NDI from a media presentation computer that presents on a big main screen and on a stage screen, and we can take the various feeds and we can choose what we want to take from that and bring it right into vMix and do all of those kind of overlays. So that's why we have it there, and it comes with extra seats, and so I'm using an extra seat on my laptop because sometimes I use my laptop for work stuff, but then I can use it for stream stuff. But if for some reason we ended our access at work to vMix and or I moved on to a different job and didn't have that access anymore, I would then just buy my own copy of vMix. All right. Okay. I did not put the label back on. I am putting the label back on. It has to be nice knowing where the chat is coming from. Yeah. Oh, and Ken said don't forget to label that one. Perfect. I'm not going to throw all the chat up on the screen, but if I want to highlight a chat, I can. I am probably playing with it a little bit more tonight because it's new and just kind of getting used to how it works on this particular application. Yeah, nice to know where the chat is coming from, because I do intend to. I have a Twitch account for Canadian Starships. I just haven't actually gone through the process of figuring out how to do the stream there. But figure it does not hurt to touch on additional platforms, because then you're getting more exposure to different people than who would be checking out YouTube. And then I can direct those people to my YouTube channel for my videos. RAF Warp Drive says, great to be able to experiment vMix in your personal projects and see what else you can do outside of a production environment. Yeah. Plus, what I learn doing my own hobby streaming, essentially, I can take and apply to what I do at work. So it's a win-win. In fact, the very reason why we've gotten into the whole live streaming stuff at work is because of COVID and everything being shut down, and they just happen to have somebody on staff who did YouTube stuff and streaming and such as a hobby, me, and so we were able to pivot pretty much right away. So spent months live streaming at work with all of my own personal gear until we were able to get gear there, because at that point you just couldn't get anything. Just hardware was not available. But with supply chain issues and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. Buck says, if you stream to multiple channels on YouTube, will it tell you which channel it is coming from? That I don't know, because I'm not streaming to multiple YouTube channels. So the thing is it tells me, it essentially tells me the source is YouTube, It doesn't tell me that it's coming from a particular channel. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that you can. No. So you could stream to multiple YouTube channels, but I'm not sure that vMix Social, which is the side of it that allows you to do this, will connect to multiple YouTube channels for the chat, because you have to log in. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that. I think streaming to multiple channels is against the terms of service. That is RAF Warp Drive saying that. I can get that up on the screen. So, like, are you talking about streaming to multiple YouTube channels at once? Because I know the Hobby Time Modeler guys do that. So I can't imagine that it's against the terms of service. Then again, I have not looked that closely because I don't have multiple channels to stream to. So that I do not know, but Buck could probably tell you more about that because they do it all the time. And I'm sure that if they haven't been shut down yet, then there's no issue. I'm just going to get some more shrink tube cut up here. Now, I know that if you are, or at least it used to be, that if you were a partner on Twitch, then you couldn't stream to both Twitch and, say, YouTube at the same time, because they actually had restrictions on how long after your Twitch live you could re-upload the VOD to, say, YouTube or something like that. But I think that might have changed. Maybe if it's considered a collaboration, it's not. Yeah, I don't know. You'd kind of have to dig into the terms of service and read all that legal stuff to find out, which I am not doing just for fun. There's so much of that stuff that has to be read. For other reasons, it's not really something I like to do if I don't have to. I'm going to have to relabel this one because I forgot to take the label off before I put this together, and I'm not getting it off without destroying it. So I'll just throw a new tag on that. And these are temporary tags I'm putting on because they'll be much lower profile. Much lower profile once I put them on to the jumper wires, because lower profile is necessary for getting through the tube. I wonder if I can just open this up. Sometimes, if I'm lucky, you know what I need? Where are my pliers? Not pliers. What am I talking about? You'd almost think that I'd lost my solder. These things. Sometimes if I can get that in there, I can separate it, and then I can pull it apart. Go. In fact, I've opened it up just enough that I can get it over the shrink tube and just close it back up. So yeah, Buck, if you're looking at trying to find an application that allows you to see whose YouTube channel a particular chat is coming from, I don't think that this is a solution for that. I'd have to look at it a bit more, but I don't think that that's a solution. I think you were talking about that on the stream last night, if I remember, or maybe it was one of the other streams. where you were wishing that you could tell which YouTube channel a comment was coming from. But that's pretty cool that Streamlabs will let you consolidate all of your chat from the various channels down to one. All right, I've taken the tag off, and I've set it aside. So remember, your job in chat is to remind me to put the tag back on if I forget. There we go. This one's going to need a bit of a longer one. I don't think I've got any scraps that are long enough, so I'm just going to grab fresh off the spool. Here we go. Let's see. Oops, I let go of that because I didn't have enough slack on it. Let's go back to here. Pull it down. Chop her off. Set that aside. Here we go. Buck says we talk about it a lot on our streams, especially during multi streams. Yeah. All right. Thanks for the reminder. I'm not quite there yet. But where did that wire go? I thought I had it attached here. I detached it because I was measuring it. There it goes. It just all gets lost. By the way, the main video program most of us use is OBS. Yeah. Very familiar with OBS. And I've used OBS extensively in the past for back in the days when I did Minecraft. And because I used to do all my video screen capture there. And I still use OBS for anything that essentially anything I need to do screen capture for. So there's part of my videos right after the main introduction part where I talk about, take a moment and subscribe and that kind of thing. Kind of that interlude. And solder is being stubborn tonight again. I tend to refilm that periodically, the screenshots, because of subscriber count updates and because basically I show my YouTube channel, and I show the pointer subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell and all that kind of stuff. I show that on screen, which just means I have to unsubscribe that account and then resubscribe every time I do it, which is fine. But when I'm doing that, I film that on OBS. Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. But thank you for the reminder. Okay, I will relabel before I shrink the tube. There we go. All right, relabeled. Now let's shrink the tube. This process should go fairly quickly tonight. Oh, it's not hot yet. You know, I wish I could just tap this thing and tell it to do everything on my live stream stuff. That would be nice. Okay, so it's been relabeled. It's been relabeled. That one is safe. And I really need to invest in a wireless heat gun. Like a battery-powered heat gun. That would be nice. All right, next one. Label coming off. Buck says, I use OBS to record my videos and clip champ to process videos. Oh, so, sorry. I didn't read that very well. I use OBS to record my videos and clip champ to process video. And then he says that I need a producer. Yeah, that could be fun. I would have to have a whole different setup in order to do that. That would require something completely different than what I have set up. If I wanted them to be able to control anything. Because I think that's one of the benefits of you guys using Streamlabs, because you can just log in and have access to all the controls remotely, right? Yeah, to have somebody be able to put stuff up on the screen for me and look at all that. The voice stuff's no problem. But yeah, controlling all that stuff. Ken says, Andrew, have you ever tried using your solder iron to shrink the shrink tube? Yeah, I have. And I just find that the heat gun does a better job. You know what? I will get into I'll get into the swing of this. It's just anytime you make a change, it just takes a little bit to get used to it, right? But I'm always looking at ways I can improve what I'm doing or add new features or stuff like that, so I don't mind the awkward time while getting used to it, because it means that I'm learning stuff and trying to make things better or more interesting or some combination thereof. Buck says both are free. I'm cheap. Lol. Yeah, well, I mean, OBS does a lot of good things considering that it's free open source. I also use it if I need to record a... so if I've got permission to use somebody's YouTube clip, then I'll use that to record it to then add into my video. Now, if somebody has OBS and has access to Season 2 of Prodigy and wants to record them and ship them off to me, I can't get Prodigy in Canada. Netflix in Canada does not have Prodigy Season 2, and I am doing everything possible to avoid spoilers. And I mean, Prodigy isn't my favorite show, but it's Star Trek, and I want to watch it because it's Star Trek. So, if anybody wants to play it, record it, and send me the files to watch, that would be awesome. Yeah, labeling it right now. There we go. All right, I think all of the negatives are long enough, so I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to look at the I'm gonna move on from the negatives and go to the positives, because everybody needs to do that from time to time. Yeah. Did that. Okay, let's get this bundle undone. Yeah, so on the last episode. I mean, there are some things I've seen just through thumbnails on YouTube videos that I didn't go looking for, but they just happen to be right in front of my face. So there's a couple of things that I'm pretty sure are happening, or people who are showing up. But as much as possible, I am trying to avoid spoilers. All right, I think there's just one that I really need to worry about extending right now, and that is deflector positive. All right. Yeah, you haven't kept up with Prodigy? Like I said, I will watch any Star Trek they put out, and then even if it's not my favorite, I will watch it. Anything long enough in the scrap. Here's a nice long piece of scrap from the other one. Buck says, don't cross the streams. Wait, wrong franchise. Sorry. There's something else I haven't seen yet. I think you guys were talking last night that it was that the latest Ghostbusters wasn't all that great. I have 2 young kids, and one of them is autistic and struggles with new people, so we don't tend to go out very often because babysitters are difficult. So my wife and I have to, if we're going to go out on our own, it's because one of the grandparents happens to be around and looking after the kids, and we tend not to prioritize movies when we have that time to get away. One of our favorite things to do when we are in Florida is to leave the kids with the grandparents, and we go down to Siesta Key, and so we leave the kids with the grandparents after they go to sleep, and we get on the free Island Breeze trolley, and we head down into the village and grab ice cream. Or if it's during the day, we'll sometimes leave the kids with the grandparents and go down and on the trolley and grab lunch or something like that. I think a lot of parents of young kids, if they went to a movie, they'd end up just falling asleep. Buck said, I enjoyed the Ghostbusters movie, including Gasp 2016. Yeah. And Ken said, me too, Buck. All right. I am relabeling this before I do anything else. See if I can beat the chat to it. But thank you for reminding me when you do. So I think this is going to be the only one on the positive side I need to do, but I will double check. And then all the datas are long enough. Label? Yeah, I already did that. I beat you this time. I beat the chat this time. Oh. That's gonna need more shrink tube. I don't know if you can see, you're not going to be able to see this on cam, but the shrink tube either moved or shrank and left exposed wires. So I'm going to have to delabel, put the shrink tube back on. Stop the cooldown of the heat gun. Put the label back on. Again. Kid says you tell him, Buck. Buck says, of course, I enjoy Space 1999 too. I have never seen Space 1999. Maybe I'm the wrong generation. Uh-huh. Buck says, the shrink tube shrank. Isn't that what you want to do? Yeah, I do want it to shrink, but I don't want it to pull off of what it's supposed to be protecting, especially when I've already put an end on it. I can't get more shrink tube over top. That's always when it's more of an issue. One thing I'm noticing about the VMix Social chat feature here is it indicates on my screen, it puts a green circle beside the chat if it's been sent to the streaming program, so that I don't wonder if I've put something up on the screen or not. It tells me that, yep, that one's already been put up on the screen. No need to do it again. So that's a cool feature. Alright, I think all the positives are long enough. All the datas are long enough. That means that it's time to turn the solder gun off, the solder iron off for now. Put the helping hands away. Back over here and see about putting this on a post. Buck says that is nice. StreamYards doesn't do that, yeah. Let's see. I don't know if I can show it here. Let me make me big. But it kind of shows. You can kind of see the green dots on this side. There beside the chat, and then it shows that it's coming from YouTube, shows who it is, the chat, and that kind of thing. So it's pretty decent UI. All right, I need to find the piece of post that is meant for this, which means I also need to figure out where the temporary stand I was using for it got to. So give me one moment and I will see if I can quickly put my hands on that. So I was able to quickly put my hands on the piece of wood I was using as a stand, but not the little piece of pipe that I was using. So I may, as much as I don't want to, I may need to cut another one. But maybe I will hold off on that until after I have had a really good look for it. Let me just check some drawers here that I have at the streaming workbench. Not finding it right now. Let's see. Dash says, where'd it go? Invading Canadian airspace now. Roger that. Subscribed. Check. Perfect. Thank you so much. And William is leaving. All right. Well, have a good night, William. Thank you for joining in and spending some time here tonight. That's greatly appreciated. All right, so what I do need to do is get this little tiny piece of pipe off. So I'll start by that, and then oh, I need to get some tape off of the data wires. Go. Which side is this on? Ah, cut it. There we go. So, a little piece of pipe that's on here because I was basically using that as a coupler between the copper T that was in the ship and another copper T so I could get the wires out previously. But this bottom copper T needs to move to the, well, that other copper T has to move to the bottom of the pile so that it'll help me anchor it to the temporary base. Thank you. Thank you. I made myself big and then forgot to make myself little again. An ID10 tier. Yes, I appreciate that. You are more than welcome to point out any of my ID10 tiers. Let's see if I can get this off without having to remove any labels. Because what I will do is I'll remove this tiny piece. Okay. This is... I'm always amazed how wiring seems to revert back to its natural state of tangledness. Happens in the world of stage audio too. XLRs and quarter-inch patch cables and speaker cables and monitor cables and all those kind of things, they seem to love to revert back to their natural tangled state. Dash says, I live 30 miles from the Ambassador Bridge. I could be close to Canadian, yeah. The Ambassador Bridge is Detroit Windsor, correct? That's the one I believe I took back from... Well, I took the Detroit Windsor crossing back from Wonderfest and met Border Officer Kirk, who sent us off with a live long and prosper. How am I going to be successful here? Might have to start working on feeding just one or two through at a time here. Buck says, trip going out the front door and you're Canadian? And then Dash says, no, Buck, you can not do that. You need to focus on that saucer. You have people betting on you over that. Not sure. Ken says, close only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and global thermonuclear war. What a nice, lovely thought. Well, see if I can get all these labels through here without tearing them off. Seems to be going okay. Don't mind me while I'm kind of concentrating on what I'm doing here. Figure it seems to work if I twist it, turn it the way that I'm twisting and turning the labels. Seems to go over without too much hassle and fuss. We're coming up to a big section here. Hands are occupied, so I won't put anything up on the screen, but Buck says I can do both. Other than seam work, the saucer is straightforward. Saucer on what? Dash says, yes, Detroit to Windsor, but now they got the Gordie Howe Bridge almost complete, so that'll help alleviate some of the traffic congestion. Yeah. We saw that. Looks like a nice bridge. It wasn't connected when we were driving back to Ontario. There was still a gap in the middle. Pretty nice looking bridge. There we go. Almost to the end now. Then I have to separate all this stuff that's been clumped together going through this tiny little pipe. C57D. Yeah, it is a lot of wire. But sure does look a lot more manageable once I get through the dealing with the harness. Now that I'm going to be the ship from Forbidden Planet, yeah. I saw Forbidden Planet for the first time when I was in grade 5? No, grade 6. Grade 6. I was in French immersion. We had half day in English, half day in French, being that we're in Canada. And it's a good thing to know French because in Quebec they get upset with you if you speak English to them. So my English teacher that we had in the afternoon, we had French in the morning, English in the afternoon. We were doing a science fiction unit or something like that, and he brought in Forbidden Planet for us to watch. So my first exposure to Forbidden Planet was grade 6 English class. And of course I thought that was great because I was always interested in science fiction of pretty much any type. Alright, let me grab some shrink tube. And I went with a larger size on the other Enterprise E because I had a lot of bulk to go over. I'm hoping that I can drop down a size maybe, although that might not be possible. Not with what I have in the colored varieties. Let me check the rest of my stuff. Oh, just a little bit of a fun product thing. If you're in Canada, Costco sells dairy and most allergen-free margarine in these containers. And the labels come off relatively easy most of the time. I can't remember what the name of it is, but we buy it, and I end up getting all these really good containers for using in the shop. So get loads of them. One of my kids has some fairly substantial laundry list of food allergies, so we have to have safe stuff in the house. Let's see. A great Leslie Nielsen movie. First time I saw it was a couple years ago. Hopefully it all works out when you get it all closed up. That would make me frustrated if I did that much and it didn't. Are you talking about the lighting? Here, Dash says, hopefully it all works when you get all closed up. That would make me frustrated if it did that much and it didn't. Yeah, if it didn't work when plugged in, which is what I thought was going on the first time. I tried plugging it in, and it turns out that it was an ID10T error on my part. Just not putting things into the right pins on the Arduino. Leslie Nielsen was pretty straight-faced. Then he started comedy and was much more fun to watch. Buck says it is amazing seeing him as a young man. And Dash says, sad because you can't use real butter. Yeah, we can't use real butter because milk, eggs, tree nuts, coconut, sesame, and crustaceans are her allergies. So we're cautious with what we have in the house. Some of the allergies are... Ooh, that's a pretty ugly piece of shrink tube. Let's put that one back in the container. Nah, I think I'm gonna have to go with the same size I used on the other ship. Which I believe is this stuff right here. I think. So let's put the rest of this away. And grab 2 more of these. Yeah, it's amazing some of the places that are not safe for us to go, like restaurant-wise, and then what places are actually safe restaurant-wise. So she has a crustacean allergy, yet Red Lobster is a safe place where she really enjoys getting chicken and french fries. The Mandarin is a completely unsafe place because of all the risk of cross-contamination. All right. Now I need to get this Is this going to be long enough? Long enough to get the post on, so we'll go with it. So I'm trying to be careful not to pull any of the labels off as I'm pulling these wires through the mess. And this is just going to be a tedious one at a time process here, I think. Captain Xiaoming Models, I am here. What did I miss? Well, you missed that I can do this now. My streaming software got an update, so that's fun. This is the second of the two Enterprise E's, so let me make myself big and pull this over. So I got all the wire harness stuff dealt with, well, finished being dealt with. There we go. Last night, so I was able to get the ship on the post. The wiring down through out the side of the copper T, and just sitting here on a temporary base waiting to be tested with the Arduino. The final test before paint to make sure everything works. So now I am getting the second of the two Enterprise E's wire harness finished up. I am approaching this one a little bit differently based on issues I had on the other one. Because if you don't learn from your mistakes, or you don't improve upon what you did before, then what are you doing? Ooh, lots of chat since I looked. Let's see. Buck says that he made his wires into twisted pairs when he did them on the Pearl last week. And a bunch of greetings. And the robot that had a southern western drawl. This wiring through the shrink tube, and we'll get it shrunk down. And I am still big. There we go, that's better. This is gonna be fun, getting this stuff through everything without a without the thicker jumper wires on the end. I think this is going to be a little bit more tedious than I had hoped for this part. Are you guys still talking about Forbidden Planet? Or have you guys moved on to something else? Talking to yourself? Or was I supposed to skip over that one? Let's see. I'm gonna grab a seat. I'm gonna grab a seat on a stool. At least mostly. I may, it's not 100% certainty yet, but I may have some bonus streams this week. Because the family is away at the in-laws. My wife and I tend to split our holidays during the summer. I think she gets 4 weeks of holidays in the year, I get 5 weeks. And so we take a couple weeks to Florida, a week or two to Florida, and then we split weeks in the summer for childcare, for weeks that we don't have either camps or grandparents or some other form of care. And so that's one of her weeks this week coming. And with the kids out of the house, it gives me a little bit more time to work on some of the projects. And I may do a little bit of bonus streaming. We'll see. Buck says that's why... Let me put that up. Buck says that's why I put my wires through the conduit, then sort them out on both both ends and solder. Yeah, I thought about that, but what stopped me is that not everything needed to be extended out. Like not all the wires needed to be extended, and I already had the tags on and stuff. So if all of the wires had to be extended, then I would have fed the wires through everything first, and then connected them, and then added all the length on. But only a few of these needed that. I don't want to be doing extra soldering if I don't need to. That was supposed to be the ends, yeah. I think my brain translated that partway through. I don't know if it came out, though, in words. In case you're wondering, I am running the wiring through shrink tube before running it through a post, because the shrink tube will hopefully protect the wiring from anything being caught or damaged on the metal tube. So basically it's just to protect the wires from getting caught on the ends of the wire tube or anything like that, or scraped or scratched or anything like that. It also then makes it a little easier getting the post over, because you're not dealing with wires all over the place. There we go. Got to keep an eye on the time, because I can't go too long tonight in the stream, because I have to be up early in the morning. And I've still got Buck's comment up on the screen. I'll have to see if there's a way of setting it up so that it only keeps it up there for a certain amount of time. I know, this is thrilling content. I was doing very similar thrilling content on the Hobby Time Modelers stream last night. But at least there, you've got lots of people carrying the conversation. I'm the only one carrying the conversation here tonight. Well, verbally on camera, I should say. You guys are having a nice little conversation about science fiction programs in the chat, which is great. All right. I'm trying to feed these wires through as they appear here in the post. Captain Shelving says, if you could choose one vintage Star Trek kit to be revamped and could get, which one would you get? Now, I think most people would consider vintage being things like you know, these kits. So, are these like the vintage kits you're referring to? And I mean, everybody has a bit of a different idea of what they consider vintage, depending on how old they are, because classic movies that are considered classic movies today are movies that I remember when they came out, and I'm not old enough for them to be classics yet. RAF Warp Drive says, having a great time, Andrew. It's nice chilled atmosphere, and more sci-fi talk. Awesome. So this is your side hustle? Yeah, this is my side hustle. I never when I got back into modeling and I started my YouTube channel, I started the YouTube channel because I liked making content. And if I was going to build models, I figured I might as well make content as well. And did not intend on getting into the commission gig side of things, but kind of just fell into it as people were wanting my work. And I figured that if my hobby could pay for itself, then that might not be a bad thing. I think the one Ken says, I think the 537 refit would be vintage, and I would like to see that revamped. I'm not sure a revamp as much as a complete retooling would be necessary on that. Redesign from the ground up. As in, like, the only thing being the same as the scale. 25 years makes them classic already. Don't look up movies you saw 25 years ago. You'll feel old, yeah. But yeah, I just want to know what's considered vintage. So Captain Shalming, what do you consider to be vintage? Because I do have an answer, but I'm not sure if that answer is considered to be vintage or not. Yeah, you want Buck wants a 350 Reliant. Everybody wants a 350 Reliant. Jamie Hood knows everybody who wants a 350 Reliant. He gets asked about that all the time. So, I'm going to count. So definitely the TOS era models are vintage, but I'm going to consider the TNG era. I mean, they're certainly older now than classic, if 25 years is classic. So I'm going to consider that era of kits, like the first round of TNG kits as vintage. And I'm going to say that they really need to revamp the 1400 scale Enterprise D kit, because there are a lot of issues with that kit, whether it be accuracy issues or the infamous panel lines or any number of other things. I think that that could A, do with a full retooling, and B, an upscale to a 1000 scale kit. So I think if I could take an old kit and redo it, that's probably where I would start. I would retool the 1400 scale and or do a full new tooling in 1000 scale. Because the 1000 scale Don Shoko I have sitting on the shelf over there, it's a nice size kit. Just that little bit bigger than the, well, it is significantly bigger than the 1400 scale, but it's not too big. Like, it's not gigantic like the Helios kit is. The Helios kit, you need to have a serious dedicated place to display. One of the other things my wife appreciates about the commission side of this is that the models I build go out the door when they're done, and they don't stick around. Plus, I enjoy the building and the whole making the model side of things. I am not interested as much in having the thing when it's done. I'm much more interested in building the thing. So doing commission work actually kind of fits me perfectly from that standpoint, because I really enjoy building the kit. Like, there's certain kits that I'm super glad that I've got the ability to do. Like, I'm really glad that I've got the opportunity to do not just one but two of the Helios 650 scale Enterprise Ds. But as much as I'm super glad that I get a chance to build them, and really glad I get to put that on my channel, I have no interest in actually having it when it's done, like displaying it or stuff like that. So doing the commission work kind of suits me there. Let's see. Buck says a large scale K7 would be nice. Oh, it would be cool. Yeah, I could see that getting a little unwieldy given the spokes and stuff like that. I'd like, if I was doing a K7, I'd probably look at updating it visually a little bit, possibly keeping all the original structure and all that, but give it a bit more high resolution detail versus what we got on the original series. Those old scientists. Captain Shelling says, yes sir, TOS kit. Personally, I would like a retool of the Romulan Bird of Prey. Kensabi Bench says, yes Buck, with a larger Enterprise. Buck says a K7 to match the cadet scale kits. Ken says, yes Cap, that BOP needs some updating. Yeah. Yeah, I've got that in a tin box here. Actually, I think it must have been a Facebook Marketplace buy because there's no shrink wrap on it. So I wouldn't have bought it at a store because I generally don't take the shrink wrap off until I need to build the kit. I'd like to see them bring in a new K7 to the series. So when you say that, Dash, I'm assuming you mean like to Strange New Worlds, since that's the era that it's in. I think that I'm only going to get as far as getting the shrimp. No, this is not a crustacean. Getting the shrink tube on here tonight. Because I don't want to be streaming too long, and I need to take some time to dig through some things to find the post. So I think that once I get the shrink tube on, I will probably call it a night. Because I do have to be up early in the morning. I mean, I don't have to be up silly early, but I do need to be up at 7 or thereabouts. And even if I had the time to sleep in, the kids would not let me. Buck says you should see the BOP Donnie built. He did a great job. And Buck also says, and I think DS9 was the newer version of a space station for the more modern era. Sort of. I mean, when they did Trials and Tribulations, Trials and Tribulations, they did a phenomenal job, in my opinion, of being true to the original series. We're not going to get quite that level of trueness to the original when it comes to something like Strange New Worlds. We will get a reimagining for a high definition world. Who said Ian's name 3 times? Ah! Totally missed that. We've got Ian in the chat saying, howdy everyone, and yeah, welcome to the stream. I am not doing anything earth-shattering tonight. I am working on the wire harness of the second of 2 Enterprise E's. Anything that you get at an arena or a venue like that, you know it's Ferengi who are operating all the vendors because they charge you like they're Ferengi. Buck says that he has a couple DS9s in the stash. Yeah, me too. I've got 2 clear and 1 of the originals. The original is actually still in its shrink wrap. Although, given the nature of the windows on DS9, I would be far more happy to light the kit with the clear kit, because you just use a micro drill to remove the little bit of a paint in a circular porthole shape, and you're good to go. Whereas on the original opaque kit, it would just be hours of drilling, and you'd have to fill them. So I'm not sure about all the clear or translucent kits when it comes to Windows, because personally think, like on the D or the E, I still personally think it looks better if you open up all the windows, block any that you want lights off from the inside, and fill them all in with, say, microcrystal clear or something like that. I think it just looks better than scraping the windows, but that's just my personal opinion. But in the case of DS9, where you just use a little pin vise to remove just that little circular bit of paint, I think that's a far better approach. Plus you get all those extra little ships in the clear kit now, which is nice. Ken says, makes me glad I don't drink. I don't either. My beverage of choice is coffee. I drink coffee night and day. There was a Harvard study done a number of years ago, and I would not be able to cite it at this point, but they did a study that showed that about, and I'm just pulling the numbers from my head because it's been a while, but roughly 11% of the population caffeine does not have the typical effects on, and I would say that I am probably part of that 11%, if that study is true, because I started drinking coffee back in university because I procrastinated on assignments and would have to pull all-nighters to get them done, and thought that it would help me in my endeavors, and it did not. But in the process, I developed a taste for coffee, and like every Canadian, I started my career with coffee off with Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons then switched their source of coffee, and it was terrible after that. And I knew a gentleman who owned something like 11 or 12 McDonald's in the Toronto area, and was part of the group that worked on getting a McCafe set up in Canada. And I remember him telling me that they had actually been able to get the original source, like the original, the brain not working, supplier, that's the word I'm looking for, supplier. They were able to get Tim Hortons' original supplier, as Tim Hortons was not using them anymore, and the McDonald's coffee was much better than the Tim Hortons coffee. Now I drink real coffee. So generally, I grind my own beans and make my coffee myself, or I'll go to a nice local coffee shop or Starbucks, something like that. Let's see, where did I leave off? Buck says I have an idea for converting. Here, let me throw some of this up on the screen. Buck says I have an idea of converting a DS9 into a ceiling fan base or light. You got any of the 2001 models, Andrew, or wanted to do any of them? The 2001, the space station looks really nice. I don't like the movie. I do not enjoy the movie. Maybe because I was born in a different time and I find it boring and lacking in any plot that makes any sort of sense. But I do appreciate the visuals and the designs. Dash says, on that note, Buck, I'm waiting to see Ian build his ceiling fan into a Huey chopper. And let's see, Duncan over Tim's, fight me. No, I've never tried Duncan. I don't know what it's like. And I don't like Tim Hortons coffee. And Buck says, I'm waiting to see him finish his second prize. And Ian says, my wife does all the bean grinding under our roof. There we go. All caught up on what's going on in the chat, which has been all over the place tonight, which is great. What's this? Dash says, Ken, didn't he say last night he had no money to buy more part work stuff? Andrew missed all this after he left last night. I remember a conversation about money for part works. But all right, RAF Warp Drive, have a good night. Thank you for joining me. I'm probably not going to be going too much longer, although looks like I'm going to 11 o'clock, which has kind of been my standard. So I guess it's not really a late stream. I know. Streamers tend to go for 4 hours at a time, but I have kids. Young kids. Who only go to bed. Who only get to sleep by 9 o'clock. And then I have to be up early in the morning, so... Definitely not doing a 4 hour or anything like that. Let's see. Dash says Tim Hortons is Canadian, and even the Canadians don't like it. I'll never buy a Starbucks at a cafe. I if it's on sale, I'll get the big bags of Starbucks Verona at Costco to grind and make coffee. Generally, I keep a coffee grinder and a French press at work, and a bag of coffee, and keep the same at home. But I was trying the Kirkland brand French roast last time because the Starbucks stuff's just gotten ridiculously expensive if it's not on sale. Wasn't bad. I can't do Starbucks French roast because those beans are so full of oil they just gum up my grinders. Ian says he sticks to tea. You don't react well to coffee anymore. That's sad. It's too bad when you can't have something. I can't eat turkey. I cannot eat turkey. Doesn't matter what time of day it is. I cannot eat turkey. It does not agree with me. So Thanksgiving, we get, which here is in October, as it should be. We actually get a free, fresh turkey every Thanksgiving from the realtor we use to buy our house. So every year, our realtor, as a way to stay connected to his clients, because he hopes that when they sell their house again one day, they'll use the same realtor. He gives all of his past clients, past and present clients, as long as you're still living in the house that you bought, a free, fresh turkey. And I cook it, and I prepare it, and all that stuff for Thanksgiving. I cannot eat it. It does a huge number on my stomach. So, while everybody else in the house is eating turkey, I treat myself to a nice thick steak or something like that. So I'm eating steak and everybody else is eating turkey. Maybe it's got something to do with years of eating the turkey skin and stuff when I was a kid, because I used to love munching down on the turkey skin. But I can't do that anymore. My stomach revolts. I have a bad night if I eat turkey any time in the day. Tell him to send you a ham, yeah. Let's see. Jacob's Kronig from Germany is pretty good, but expensive. I'm assuming you mean coffee. 1 cup of coffee, 1 of tea daily. Yeah. I only drink 1 or 2 a day. Pots of coffee. 1 or 2 pots of coffee. That's the measurement we use, right? You have the same problem with salad? You can't eat salad? Is that actually a physiological reaction you have to it, or is it just that you don't like it? And is it a specific type of salad? Or like any type of salad? Salad's not food, it's what food eats. Yeah, I have primarily a vegan diet. Pretty much all of the food I eat were vegans when they were alive. Uh-oh. Where did it go? I have lost a label. Oh, given that... Oh no, I didn't lose a label. It was just like really high up on this wire. It's too healthy and your body rejects it. Cheeseburgers are no problem. You guys were talking about rabbits last night. We are infested with rabbits, and I had just gone outside to, well, actually I had taken our gas-powered vehicle, our van, to fill it up with gas because the family is going to be taking it because they need the extra cargo space for the trip. So I had to actually go to a gas station, which is weird, but when I was coming back in the house, that's just this label's just sliding right along. Yeah, rabbit, just right there. We're absolutely infested with them. Rabbits, cricket season's coming up here in about a month. So I'm going to have to seal the bottom of our garage door here in our garage, where my studio is. So I'll have to tape seal the bottom of the doors and not use them for about a month to keep the crickets out. Because we just get absolutely infested with crickets mid-August. And then in my videos, all you will hear are crickets going off as I'm filming. It's super annoying. Okay, let's see if that'll go through here this time. It's still getting caught. I'm gonna have to relabel this one. So, chat, again, remind me to put the label back on once I feed this through. Andrew, did you think of using Sharpie markers instead of tape to mark your wires? Using 30 gauge, and I'd have to come up with some code system to mark them with Sharpie. Thought about it, and I'm far enough along on this project where I'm not going to switch up my approach at this point because I'm too close to the end on this part of the project. And when it comes to the 650D, I'm using the inner lighting system, I think. Or at least I'm going to try it out. And in that case, there's going to be a whole lot less wiring going through the tube. So that won't be quite as big of an issue. But because we are using different circuits for everything, and I'm being the first time that I'm using the Arduino system here, not quite sure how much of the lighting the Arduino will power. I've kept a lot of the label. Thank you, label. No, I put that back on. I put that back on already. The label's back on. No worries. At least I'm pretty sure the label's back on. Now I have to check. What color wire was that? It was a yellow label. Pretty sure it was this one here. Yeah, it was this one here. No, I already put the label back on. Thank you though. Thank you. Just don't break off the backup mirrors on the saucer. No, I don't tend to break the mirrors off my models. Who would do that? Nobody. Oh, I've still got... I need to see if I can get those to come off automatically. I'm just playing around with a new update to my streaming software tonight, so... streaming glitches, I will just blame on the software update. Trying out some new features. Things that were not previously available. You are just so evil, Buck, says Ken. Here we go. I don't think backup mirrors are a problem. Now, if I had side mirrors, that could be something. There we go. I would use the Buck says I would use the Arduino just for the flashers and the main power bus for internal window lighting. Yeah, I'm gonna play around with it, and so that's why I've kept a bunch of the circuits separate as far as the power side of things go, because I really want to make sure that I'm not overloading any particular source, and I wanted to leave those options open to me. And if I want to consolidate any of those power lines, I can always do that inside the base, not a problem. So it's not a big deal to either keep them... taking label off, remind me, label off. It's much easier feeding it through without the label on. So yeah, I decided to keep my options open. Which... I would be, if I wasn't doing that and I knew exactly how the power requirements would work out, I probably would not be running this much wiring down the post. But, I mean, when it's on the stand, when it's set up and it's on the stand, nobody's going to be able to tell how many ODN conduits are running through the post. So it doesn't really matter, but... it would be nice to get all that cleaned up. I am doing this one differently than the one sitting behind me. I had consolidated some stuff kind of in the post area, just so that it all wasn't coming down. But that made it a real pain. Labels back on. Labels back on, thank you. Made it a real pain to get that post on last night. So instead of consolidating it down, which caused extra bulk because of the shrink tube and solder and all that kind of stuff, I'm just running everything that's coming out of the chip down the post and dealing with it past the post. So we'll see which we'll see which wires are first past the post. Canadians may understand that reference. All right. Label off, wire feeding through. So much easier with the label off. And again, putting this stuff on before getting the jumper wires connected has also made a huge difference in being able to just fish all this through. So kind of like SpaceX, do it, see what went right, see what went wrong, iterate, do it better the next time. And label going back on. Buck says, work with Donnie and Todd for your code. Is that directed at me or someone else in the chat? And you were wondering why I didn't do it this way before? Yeah, because I think I just got ahead of myself and was thinking a few extra steps ahead of myself than where I was. So also I was trying to do some testing with the Arduino, and I needed the jumper wires attached to be able to do that because it's unreliable. Just putting the stripped wire ends in the Arduino or into the breadboard is not reliable for a connection. And I was running into issues, which may or may not have just been the fact that I was putting them into the wrong pins. Very much could be that. But I was wanting to get that stuff tested to make sure that that was all working, and so I put the jumper wires on to facilitate the testing, but forgetting that it was going to cause me trouble getting the post on. Let's see. Todd's in the chat. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, when it comes to the Arduino coding, I've got a guy. And he's looking after all of it. Everything has been really smooth and good so far. As long as I have plugged things into the right ports, that's on me. But yeah, so my guy in the Netherlands has done really good work so far, so I'm quite happy with that. And to be honest, I'm really glad that I'm not having to figure it out for myself. Which makes the inner light system kind of interesting. Because they've basically taken the idea of website design sites where it's just plug and play instead of coding for websites, and translated that to lighting for our models. So I'm looking forward to getting into that this week, hopefully, because I need to get I need to detail out the plan for the 650D lighting because of the way that system is set up on the data end of things, where it's one data channel that runs through the entire ship. So I really have to strategically plan out the path that data channel is going to take through the model. Wire, label. Where is that wire? Here it is. Almost forgot. I almost forgot. Elon thinking, not NASA thinking yet. I mean, it's worked for them pretty well with Falcon 9 and Starship and all that kind of stuff. They've been able to move pretty quick on that. All right, well, I'm only about halfway through getting these wires fed through the shrink tube, but that is as far as I'm going to go tonight because I do have to be up early in the morning. So I am going to call the stream here, and I may join some of you guys tomorrow evening because I will not have family responsibilities, where I'll probably be continuing this and hopefully getting some lighting going. I was kind of hoping to do that last night and never got to it, but yeah, so I'm going to call that a night. Let me throw my face up there, make myself a little big. And so yeah, we've got the... I was really happy to get that one on the post earlier today. And making progress on this. This is going a lot faster than the other one did. Yeah, you can finish on the Sunday stream. Yeah, so, all right, thank you everyone for joining me. Hope that you've enjoyed the stream. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, I haven't done so yet, why not hit the subscribe button today? You'll make me very happy if you do. And that's going to be the stream for tonight. So have a good night, and I will see you for some potentially spontaneous bonus streams, maybe this week. All right. Have a good night, everyone.